Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me all right? Thank you very much. Just doing a little test. I'm running pre-market show here, so I just wanted to make sure my outports were working good. So we will be going live here in just a few minutes. All right, everybody. Thank you.
All right, let's do a quick audio check. Sounds good. Okay, we have good output into the room. Checking YouTube, just making sure we're good there. All right, we look pretty good. Unless I see anything else pop up, we'll go ahead and get started. All right, everybody. So good morning and welcome to another day in the equities markets. My name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets, and it is August 25th, 2021. Let's go ahead and take a look at a few things from yesterday, as always, and just kind of see as we are midweek, and we're also looking for maybe a bit of additional confirmation towards what the rest of the week has, along with some of the expected binary sort of catalyst volatility from the Jackson Hole event later this week. All right, so when we start off with our just overall market condition, we note that we're well within our expected move range for the week. We've had some pretty nice follow through from sort of a stop of the selling pressure last week. We had a very significant recovery, and overall, that sort of uh, solidified the idea that the swing low is our next level of risk. So as we move forward in this trend in the market, every time we form these major swing lows and ultimately form new all-time highs, it sort of sets up the idea that if we ever lose this new stair step, we would expect volatility to expand much further than it has in recent weeks. We also have the SPY sort of coming into a psychological price level today around the 4,500. So ultimately, while the SPY has had an excellent recovery, and the SPX is ultimately trading higher this pre-market, we are coming into a bit of an area of concern with regards to continuation. If we see buyers step in and break through that psychological level, we have our expected move of about 45.09, and that's sort of just an option related upper target if this move does have continuation for the next couple of days. Shifting to the NASDAQ, we can see that the same type of recovery has also occurred, albeit one that may be a bit more impulsive and stronger to the upside, noting that during this move, we did have a bit of declining volume. So, yes, we did sort of traverse from low to high. Yes, the range has been expanded and we have a new swing low to consider moving forward in the markets. But as we have moved higher, we sort of ran out of demand as we kept climbing. And that just means we're likely to see a pullback probably to something like the 20 period in the next couple of sessions. That'll ultimately set up for new buying demand to come in. And ultimately, with the cues in this trading channel, we haven't necessarily hit the upper end of this channel in quite a while. And that does appear to be sort of a general target for this move. You can see the price history inside of this channel based around just two swing highs back in time, and ultimately coming into the 4 hour to see the nuance of those particular price levels. Dow, not as strong, of course, but still recovering well above the range. And IWM does appear to have achieved the first target from our swing low approach inside of this trading range back to VPOC. VPOC, of course, being the high volume node of WM. We've achieved this in a matter of 3 days, which just shows that the market continues to provide these sort of lower risk, higher reward opportunities if you're willing to step into either selling pressure or trusting this range support, as we did get a bit of confirmation with last week's rally. There we go. So what do we look for next in the markets? As we take a look at the watch list, we continue just to observe that our risk factors are still present and ultimately haven't made a clear decision one way or another. The dollar still at that sort of trend line tipping point. We did see the breakout come back into the normal trading range. And ultimately, this is going to be this area, and the decision made here can kind of decide the next round of movement in the dollar. The bonds and the yields have been relatively calm. Ultimately, there may be a bit of waiting for this event to occur with Federal Chair and the Jackson Hole event. However, we are seeing some movement inside of bonds this morning. We do appear to sort of have a pivot price of approximately 150. TLT has been sort of in and out of this range and ultimately this price level for quite a while. And short term, giving us a couple of sort of interesting intraday opportunities in the likes of if bonds sell away from this pivot, we may see some strength return to tech. Obviously, if we see it pivot higher, that of course can kind of lead us closer to maybe financials or something more inflationary related. Or sorry, the opposite effect. Bonds higher, tech higher, and the opposite is true, bonds lower. With the China stocks, or actually, before I move into that, As we look into the VIX, something we haven't analyzed in quite a while, the perspective here is similar to what we've seen multiple times throughout the past year and a half. The volatility expansion that occurred last week has somewhat reset the VIX in terms of these pop and fade structures on the chart. Oftentimes you can see this inside of both the VIX itself and something like the VIX 3 months expiry. So it should be VIX 3M. And all I'm doing here is looking at another index that simply is showing, instead of 30-day volatility, but further out in time volatility. Often traders or people looking to sort of gauge short to medium term volatility expansion in the market can do this in a ways. You can look at an index product like the VIX, and that is a representation of the 30-day volatility for the S&P/X. The VIX 3M, once again, just a 3-month index. And comparing the two, you can often start to see similarities and differences with the sort of curve of volatility. A lot of, I guess, commonality between something like bond yield curve. Shorter dated volatility ultimately should be trading in a normal condition lower than your back month volatility. And that often is a standard state of the market that is often referred to as contango. Whenever you have volatility expansion, the idea is that where that expansion is occurring and whether or not the short to medium dated volatility starts to become flattened or ultimately invert, that's when we often see larger market corrections or just larger market range expansion throughout. So far, every time we've had one of these sell-offs inside of the larger trend of the SPX, it sort of resets that, I would say, curve inside of short to medium term volatility. So we often see sort of them coming together, getting close to inversion, and then of course them moving back to normal state and normal contango. Believe if you do VIX plus, and then you add the that did not achieve the desired effect, so I will scratch this for now. But with this concept, the idea is that as we move forward and as we are looking for both opportunities to long the overall market, oftentimes in the case of the overall trend, it has been sort of a simple endeavor. As volatility expands and as a market comes into a buying zone like the 50 period moving average, as long as we see volatility contracting after that event, along with the curve inversion going away from flattened to normal contango, the marketplace has often recovered quite well. And this goes beyond just simple price action. The idea is that the market expanded its range and then ultimately is looking to contract it once again as we recover both in price and in volatility. So as we move forward, if this pattern repeats, and ultimately as the market is getting into a potential area to consider for a swing high back to sort of the mean of the market, which often is going to be seen around the 20 period. If we see this occur, we should see volatility expand for a couple of days as the market sells. If it wants to recover from this price level, we should also see the stabilization of that expansion through short to medium dated volatility, and ultimately looking at our technicals to find things like entry, exit, and target levels for the overall trend. Excuse me. So, with all of that, ultimately there isn't too much across the board to review. We do have a bit of sector analysis just to discuss. Ultimately, with this recovery in the SPX, once again, looking at different sectors and seeing who's in the lead and also who's providing best opportunity, along with continuation potentially if the market remains. We talked about how financials had this impulsive gap. This was due to some of the volatility in the bond products and the idea that yields may have bottomed short term. With that, yields rising allowed for financials to ultimately start to break out of a previous swing high. We saw a lack of follow through on this breakout, but now we have returned back to our trending moving average, the 20 period. So as we were unable to, or as this market moved, you may have been unable to capture this, I would say, directional gap. But as we pull back, we want to see how this stabilizes. And ultimately, this is defining short-term risk. If financials are to move higher, we should see this area hold and the market sort of pivot away from this to continue the upper move. That's, of course, with a larger sort of weekly trend intact, and the structure here potentially that cup and handle into continuation with a very clear sort of neckline or cup breakout level. Healthcare, always in the leader position until we see this trend change, but ultimately higher volatility occurring at these price levels. You can see that unlike these moves, which were often slow, steady, and ultimately shorter range dailies, we're seeing higher range overall near the highs and expanding volume. This doesn't necessarily mean this market is ready to come back down, but like we've discussed, volatility often expands into corrections and often contracts into reversions, either back to the mean or back to the upside in the case of a trending market. So something to keep on watch and to note is that while healthcare has been the leader for a while, we're seeing a bit of pivoting action on the weekly. This could ultimately set up a high and bring us back into sort of that stable trend structure, something akin to where we had back in time, this recovery here off of the March lows. And then finally with tech, due to the impulsive move that we saw on the QQQ, once again, the daily structure here is that we've already completed a full transition from low to high. This pullback to the 20 may be the next phase in order to continue this move higher, with the understanding that this market has been extended for quite a while. And ultimately, the weekly chart is in that posture of strength, however, overextended to the upside. A pullback to the 20 would not be out of the question, as we've seen this market pivot near highs and pull back to the 20 period during times of market corrections. Also keeping in mind that the red line represents the yearly performance of this sector ETF. Now, as I've been describing the market pivoting at certain levels Some people who may have been in attendance last night or maybe understand the concept of just a general price level pivot may have started to glean what's being discussed here. But for those who did not attend or ultimately want some context, we talked about this idea last night and the idea of price pivots around certain, I would say, price levels. Ultimately, the market is giving us information candle, and how we use this information, how we interpret it, along with how market participants as a collective interpret it, can sort of dictate short-term movement, along with knowing when price may want to alter its direction, even against a larger uptrend, downtrend, and the like. So when we discuss pivots, we're actually, in my case, referring to the idea of how every single candle has the concept of an open and a close. Given that we're looking at daily candles, the idea of the daily close, the previous day close, and the ability for the market to use that information, that single price every single day, to pivot around and ultimately accept or reject that price into the next candle session. So, high level, what does something like this look like? We see a lot of bullish candles, bearish candles, indecision. We have indicators and moving averages to give us sense of trend. But let's take a different perspective, and ultimately let's expand upon something that was discussed last session or last webinar session. So what I've done is I've created a simple study around this idea of pivots using the previous day close as the gauge of whether the market is pivoting, and using previous daily, or at least this study is general, so it'll take the recent closes to understand, are we seeing continuation and acceptance either in the direction of the short-term trend, upside or down, or is the market pivoting around previous closes, once again showing indecision, balance, or even a trading range, often can be seen with larger trading ranges, lots of pivots in between. Now, before I apply this study, and as I remove some of our other indicators, let's just take a quick look at what this code looks like. And obviously, you don't have to be someone who can read ThinkScript code directly, but let's just talk about the concepts here before it's applied. We have some variables that simply capture the candle close, the previous day close, represented by PDC, and the previous 2-day close, so 2 days ago's close. That gives us information about the last 3 candles at all times. And as the market progresses, obviously these bits of information change dynamically. We have some concepts around, did the current candle accept or reject the previous day close? With the idea that acceptance is about sort of the bullish criteria, we're moving higher from the close, or did we reject it, moving lower? And once again, let's apply that to the last 2 candles, with the previous day close moving higher from the 2-day ago close or lower. So very simple, just if then. If it's accepting, we see accept. If it's rejecting, we see reject. And this, of course, correlates to higher or lower. Well, then we can take these sort of conditions and apply them to 4 states of the market. Market is either continuously accepting in the case of multiple confirmations of previous day close moving higher. Every single day, the market comes in and says, yesterday's close, the last transaction that occurred, we agree that that was fair, and ultimately we want to move higher. We want to find higher value. So the acceptance of that occurring 2 days in a row leads us to sort of a buy structure. Obviously, the opposite occurs for the sell. And then our pivots occur around the idea that if we are moving higher, but we have a moment in time where the current price is rejecting the previous day close, of course, with the understanding that before that we were accepting, then we may see the potential for the market to pivot. It's simply a state that the market can enter, and this often leads to chop, indecision, trading ranges, balance in the market, lower volatility overall because they aren't necessarily moving in a directional state. They're simply pivoting around a previous level. And the opposite is true for the lows. So all this comes together, we assign colors to each of these, and ultimately the buys are green, the sells are red, the highs at the pivots are dark orange, and the lows are black. Now this is going to have a bit of difference depending on if the candle is a bullish or bearish candle, that we close higher or lower within the candle itself, but we'll just kind of see how this applies to our trending market. And this is ultimately the effect. We can see that on strong trend continuation, we have multiple days of green acceptance candles. The idea that not only did we accept previous pivots, but we're moving higher each and every day. We're closing higher than the previous close, and ultimately leading us to the extension of the market. We get to moments in time where this price can pivot. The price shows the orange after green, and this is moments where the market can sort of choose whether or not to be balanced in this area or to confirm the potential for a pullback. Obviously, we're trending higher, so each and every pivot needs to be interpreted as a pullback until we get different structure in the market. And you can see sort of what that looks like. We have sort of these green into pivot orange, and then ultimately, if we get orange into red, that sort of confirms that this area is starting to pivot, lower prices, and ultimately we look for this to settle with the understanding that as we are selling, we get higher volatility candles, larger ranges across. The opposite can occur at the lows as well. Going from red to black can set up, in this case, a more volatile range and a volatile pivot area, but the market can accept this in the confirmation of the next candle's previous daily close and ultimately moving higher from a pivot zone. Now, in a trending market, this often is pretty straightforward. You will see these selling momentum to the downside, these moments in time where we sort of stabilize and pivot. And ultimately, as long as we can hold these pivot ranges, something like a red to black or a green to orange, if we hold it and move higher, that was simply a pivot that stalled the price. If we move lower and confirm, that is a pivot that is pulling back against the trend. It is pivoting the market lower. But not every pivot, of course, is a sell signal nor a buy signal. Often these require 2 to 3 candles of data, and ultimately to confirm the change in direction, you need the sort of base direction, the pivot itself, and then of course the confirmation moving forward. In choppier markets, this of course will look much different. But just like we saw with IWM, we are seeing pivots forming at technical levels. And this is where we can gain a bit of edge, not only knowing that this is a support zone in the IWM, but seeing price pivot in the daily structure and knowing that this pivot is setting up, at the very least, risk to reward ranges. Understanding that if we start to break higher from this pivot, that can of course be an entry signal, and the risk parameter exists below the pivot low. So these sort of two candle structures at the lows, along with some of the two candle structures near the highs, you can see one here. This obviously set up an upper range that led to a larger pullback sell-off. We had another one here against the dominant sort of upper trend. And this is day to day. We see these pivots occurring all the time. However, in choppier, volume heavy areas of the market, the pivots are going to be more clustered. Markets are choppier overall. And that's simply because we're not in an imbalanced mode. We're more balanced at VPOC, and the market tends to pivot back and forth until a larger decision is made, something like this, up this larger downstroke in the IWM. So with this indicator, it's a very, well, I'll say study. It's a very simple study overall. There's really only 4 states for each candle to be in. But applying this even mentally or manually to how you look at each candle's close, if you are trending and you're seeing price acceptance, the idea is that you want to keep on that course. If you see price start to pivot, the understanding here is that maybe it is time to take profit. Are you at a previous support or resistance? Are you at a price target? Market may be pivoting around these concepts. But then the confirmation and acceptance of higher, or the rejection of a pivot through the sort of stabilization of that range, that can ultimately lead to continuation in the larger dominant trend. Um, so all these concepts together, putting that into a study and ultimately using this as sort of a foundational launching point for other indicators, seeing the market sort of in a different lens as opposed to just buying and selling candles. Let's actually look at price acceptance and rejection and understand that markets do not move in a straight line, but also pivot throughout the larger trend. So shorter term opportunities in this study, we'll look to see if this has some relevance moving forward. And ultimately, if you attended last night's webinar, the slides and the presentation should be published shortly, along with this study being a link in that slide deck. So if you have Thinkorswim, you can simply apply this study by going to set up, open shared item, and then the link being something like, it'll look something like this. This might not necessarily be the link, but it'll be of this structure. You can import that and use this study inside of this tool. So with that said, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Trade safe today. We had a lot of volatility yesterday with a lot of the meme stocks. They had weekly breakouts. And ultimately, if we look at their pivot structure, something like AMC, the writing is starting to get a little bit more clear as we saw price acceptance, a pivot structure with red, black to green, and this large weekly breakout finally confirming against the dominant trend on the weekly. So that said, let's see if that offers more opportunity. Stay tuned for pre-market prep, and we'll talk more tomorrow.
Hey, good morning, Norm. How's it going today, brother?
Hey, good morning, bud. I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh man, I'm flying by the seat of my pants trying to do Carlos's job
Oh, I
today.
know,
My
man.
goodness, this guy
Everybody bear
does
with us a
so
little
much
bit.
work.
It takes a little bit. You got to remember, Carlos been doing this for 2 years, 2.5 years. As you can see, I'm joined by not Carlos over there because
Right?
I'm gonna throw up a pic at Carlos. There you go. There's our man.
Oh,
Had
there's
his
the
baby
guy.
last night. See if you can pull that up in the chat so YouTube can see it.
Here, let's
So,
see.
wishing the family well. Hang with us. I've got a slight echo from you. I don't know what's causing that.
A slight echo.
Is anybody else hearing an echo in the chat? No? Okay. Then ignore it because I can do this. I can do that.
All right, cool. Thank you. Let's see here. Let me see if I can pull this up into. Let's see. Bring it up into the right into our little daily chart area here.
There you go. There's the man.
There's our man Carlos. There's his new baby girl.
So, congrats to
So
Carlos, his
much love,
wife.
brother. Much love.
All right, let's get
So
it going.
yeah, let's get it going on, man. So basically, Gapper's list isn't looking as hefty as maybe yesterday or the day before.
No, it's not. I mean, we keep repeating it. I sound like a broken record right now, but it's the middle of August. Earnings are close to being over. We've got a couple of earnings gaps on the list here. Dick's, for instance, one of them. Nordstrom. But other than that, not a whole lot going on. We got Jackson Hole starting tomorrow, runs through Saturday. Jay Powell will be talking on Friday. And the only data we have today is durable goods and non-defense durable or capital goods orders, which came out about 7 minutes ago. So
Well,
I anticipate fairly slow day.
yeah, it sounds about right. We're definitely getting into that summer season, if you will. And I know with the SPY already is kind of opening up, just kind of chopping this mid-range area, if you will. So certainly looking a little lackluster. I know from yesterday we had a couple of things we were looking at yesterday. I know we were checking
I got
out
to
like
tell you
some.
too, not to interrupt, but
No,
while
go
you
for it.
mentioned SPY, I looked over. It's the lowest pre-market volume on the SPY at this time I've seen, and I can't tell you how long.
Yeah, right. For like forever. I mean,
So
Spy's been
anyway,
pushing up towards this inevitable 450 maybe, and it's just no one's buying in at this level because no one believes it, and no one's selling because everyone else is hopeful.
well, nobody's around. Everybody's on vacation.
Everyone's
So
taking a
it's
nap.
August.
Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and pop through a couple of things that we saw yesterday. I know we were watching a little Bitcoin stuff, so you can see Kara here ended up having a really fast sell-off at the beginning of the day on Kara. Let's see, we can zoom out a little bit here. If it lets me. Oh, look, it changed my data. Hold on one second. I don't know why I did that. All right, there we go. So Kara had a really solid drop right at the open, along with the a lot of the Bitcoin stuff, and then it just kind of leveled out and found a range. We had looked at Baba, which chopped around. A lot of the Chinese stocks yesterday, Baba, JD, they kind of all did the same thing. They all kind of opened and then chopped around for quite a while, and then did a little bit of a squeeze, maybe a cover rally. Most of those China stocks were bouncing a bit. We were looking at Best Buy. It provided a couple of opportunities in the open, but really the good move on Best Buy came after 11. We've been noticing that a lot in these choppier open of these markets, which you're kind of getting the open chops, especially for the first, even half hour to an hour of the day, and then some of these stocks pick directions. Neo ended up being a very not great trading stock yesterday, and Nvidia did a little bounce and then consolidated. So, I mean, if you had a little trouble trading yesterday, I can see why. We didn't have a lot of like really crazy movers.
Can you try to check your level going to YouTube? There's a couple of people saying they don't have much volume coming out of you.
Let me go up on the. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me go up on.
Sorry. Well, once we get this down, guys, it should be pretty smooth sailing. But
All right. Let me see here. Check. How's that right there? Is that a little bit better?
I think that probably is. Just go forward, and I'll let you know if there's an issue.
All right. Yeah, I took up the gain on my mic a little bit. Hopefully that'll help. So let me know otherwise. All right, so and that's basically was the majority of our watch list. So I personally watched, we had JD on there, which provided a little opportunity, and then we were kind of watching some tech stocks like Apple, and Apple ended up having a really nice squeeze and then a fade that many of us took advantage of, which was pretty nice. But all in all, when it comes down to it, the SPY was fairly rangy yesterday, maybe a little sell towards the end, and then has been pretty rangy throughout the day. What do you think, Norm? What's things looking like out there in the market?
I mean, like I said, I'm relatively quiet. We're at the very tail end of earnings season with when retail comes in, like Dick's, Nordstrom, those. And it's just, I mean, it's typical. Most years, the late part of August slows down. And it's a little, maybe, we might, who knows? You can get a catalyst any day. Something crazy could happen. But it's pretty typical to be pretty slow the last half of August.
So yeah, I mean, I flipped over to Market Pulse because it sounds like we were kind of getting into that a little bit. I didn't know if you had any other things you're looking. I know you had mentioned durable goods and a couple things like that, but
yeah, that data came. No, that data came out earlier. I think people are waiting to hear what the Fed has to say. They'll be meeting and having their symposium at Jackson Hole that they do every year. It's kind of like the highlight of this slowish period of August. Jay Powell speaks. I can't remember what time on Friday. He speaks at 10 a.m. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get into our gappers list here. So we're starting off today on the up and down. Not too bad. We definitely have a couple of names on here that I can recognize, DKS being one of them. So let's go ahead and start off with RGC, which of course is now not auto-filling. Hold on 1 second.
Sure.
Let's see if I can get this going real quick.
Peter, thank you. Super chat, $10 bomb over there. It's going to autism and autism research, and Andrew's going to match it dollar for dollar. So thank you very much.
All right, let's see here. Almost there. Let's see if that works. There we go. All right, I had to relink TI to my doc. All right, there we go. All right, now we're moving. So, and yeah, thank you everybody who sends in the super chats. I'm not quite as savvy as Carlos on this yet. So when you send in your super chats, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to flash the cool flag with your name on it. Don't let that deter you.
Shoot off fireworks in your background back there automatically.
Autism, but yeah, I can't do all the fancy the stuff just yet. Maybe in a few more days I'll have picked that up. So Regen Cell Bioscience looks like it had kind of a big pop back on the 20th, but otherwise seems to have been kind of finding some narrow ranges. Today gapped up and right back down. Not a huge fan of this pre-market price actually.
No, I'll tell you. So this is look at the spread. You've got 25 cents. You've got a 2 million share float company. It's a Hong Kong company that I believe it has to do with traditional Chinese medicine bioscience. So I'm going to run from that, brother.
Traditional Chinese medicine bioscience, yes.
That the volume going through it is slim. There's got to be this is an ugly shorter time frame 1 minute chart. So I'm going to run from that.
Yeah, good call. Good call there. Let's check out, let's see, support.com, SPRT. I think this one was on the list yesterday. Wow, it has really good volume yesterday, and it got stuffed afterwards. So be interesting.
This one's been on the list quite a bit recently. I haven't touched it. I've seen it. We've picked it apart. 10 million share float, 62 2.5% short float, at least as of the last reporting. So quite high. I know this thing's pushed up, but it's traded heavy volume. So it wouldn't surprise me if a good chunk of that short float is gone.
Yeah, probably a fair WSB target yesterday, maybe. I mean, that would have kind of explained the squeeze and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what I don't know what it's going on with it, because it's not been on my WSB list that shows activity, at least not yesterday. Whenever I look, I really don't see it there. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, it's on some of it. It's on it's Reddit penny stocks, not the. So it is a little bit on Reddit. I'm sure they're trying to squeeze it. Keep an eye out. I know Brian traded this yesterday.
Yeah, anytime it gets that high short float now, you can almost look for a certain game to kind of be after it. So we got Triple U, Universal Security Instruments, gapping a little bit of a low price, gapping up above the averages on the daily here, which is kind of nice. Pre-market action looking not so spectacular, but it might be something that can wake up a little bit. Anything interesting there?
No, and I'll just note 2 million share float as well. So, these low floats, especially like that, you really need heavy volume and consistent order flow, which I'm not seeing on this. Could change, but as of right now, it's not something that I would keep my eye on.
Right on. All right, so let's look at DKS. DKS is gapping up real nice today. We got some earnings play or something on this guy.
Yeah, they blew out their earnings, man. They reported this morning, and we'll just put it this way. The estimate for the earnings per share was $2.80. They did $5.08. So I'd say they beat the estimates quite handily. Their revenues were also above. So
wow, that'll do. So that'll be really interesting. To look, one thing I noticed too is Dick's had a fairly high short float, and TI has it held by institutions at 80%. So I mean, this thing was accumulated and ready to go. So there's no
big
surprise
banks like
it just
Dick's
exploded. Yeah, the big bang. We'll just leave that one where it is. Okay, moving forward, let's check out KC. Looks like DKS is going to be on the watch list for sure, though. KC is Kingsoft Cloud Holdings. Pre-market action, not looking spectacular. Little bit of a pop-up on the daily. Anything fun there?
they had earnings this morning. Chinese company. I'm frankly not familiar with it, but I think it's a cloud company. I have never even looked at this one before.
Yeah. Right now, it would definitely need some volume to come in and to start looking a little bit more interesting, but maybe an item for the secondary or third lists. Express Inc. Little lower price, under $10 stock on this one. Looks like about 62 mil float, and it's been steadily moving up and gaining ground over the past month. So that's pretty nice, but pre-market action not overtly spectacular.
Yeah, they had earnings this morning. Retail stuff coming in, so getting a little pop on that. They were expected to take a loss, and I think they actually had positive earnings. So,
all right, let me do this. I'm going to remove something because I think it's...
I guess people buying clothes now that they can go out again.
Excellent. So Express, let's see. We got AMC hitting the gappers, kind of a usual deal. Had a really strong day yesterday on AMC.
Meme stocks came alive yesterday midday.
Yeah, I know Jared, I think, got a piece of this one, which is exciting. But this one definitely woke up yesterday towards, when was it? Yeah, like around like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 o'clock. This thing took off.
Yes, it did. I'm getting some chop out of you. Is anybody else having connection issues or choppiness?
Hopefully not too much.
Now you're back.
I actually ordered. I have the internet company coming by tomorrow to install a hard line, so it might just be my Wi-Fi connection that I'm using. But I'll try and stick with. So we got AMC moving, so that'll definitely be something to take a look at. And then it looks like TSM on the list again, Taiwan Semiconductor. Taiwan Semiconductor has had some pretty good tradable days. Looks like it's gapping up today, and it's getting above most of the lower averages. So that's pretty interesting coming back into value. What's the word on this one?
I've got a couple of things. I'm not seeing anything too crazy. Just they've had this little bit of a bounce after their pullback, so.
So
The state of Arizona did something with semiconductors. It might have something to do with them and getting them to do something there. I don't know if that's enough. I didn't get a chance to dig into it. Frankly, I'm not a fan of trading TSM myself, but that doesn't
I
mean
agree.
somebody else can.
Yeah, I agree with you on TSM as well. I've attempted to trade it a couple of times, and I've found it to be not the easiest stock to trade at times. So I'm gonna go ahead, and that was our gap up. I'm gonna go ahead and pop over to the gap down, and let's just take a few looks at these. We have Sava on the list. That's Cassava Sciences. See them on here quite a bit. Looks like we're gapping down quite a bit today, which kind of makes that, obviously it's on our gap down, but I mean really down, right down to our 100 moving average down here in the low 80s, where we were just trading at 120 yesterday. So that's quite the drop on Sava. Sava got some bad stuff going on?
Yeah, they have somebody's accused them of some funky drug trial stuff with their Alzheimer's drug. So that's hitting them. I guess they responded to allegations on it, but nevertheless, they're getting slammed this morning.
So I don't know, maybe original allegations came out back here on at the end of July, because you see this, we're like rallying for 150, and then out of nowhere this thing drops all the way to $70. Maybe that's when that came out.
Yeah, the road to this drug trying to come to market has been a bumpy one, to say the least. So
yeah, without a doubt. All right, so Sava, we can maybe put that on the secondary list. Hopefully we'll have something better to trade. I have a feeling that one's going to be a little rough to trade. JWN, which is Nordstrom, another retail. They are gapping down today, so they must have had maybe the opposite result of DKS today, maybe. But they find themselves losing VWAP and gap down nicely.
Yeah, they had earnings last night, and they're getting smacked. I'll say overall, this is usually a pretty tough stock to trade. Maybe a different story today with as much volume as they've got in the gap. But usually it's pretty difficult, and as you can see, their earnings were not fantastic.
Yeah, definitely not. So I found that with a lot of the retail stocks, there's only a couple of them that really seem to trade okay. Most of the retail stocks are rough. Ehang Holdings got a bit of a gap down today. Not really great looking in the pre-market. We kind of find this range, and now we're just kind of chopping really narrow. Any love there?
They had earnings this morning. I'm not a fan of it, of this ticker. It just popped up, so it only has 108,000 shares. It's why it just hopped onto the gappers list. Other than the fact that they had earnings, I can't tell you I know much about what was in those.
Yeah, that may be a third list item. Bit Digital, BTBT. I know we've had this one off and on. I have not been enjoying this stock at all. I haven't really tried to trade it, but I've found it just especially in recent, just coming into narrowing ranges. So anything useful on this one, Norm?
No, I think Bitcoin just pulling back has got a couple of these on here. These Riot, Mara, BTBT. So
yeah, so you're going to find that I think the same between that, and we can just put those all in that category. I think Mara and BTBT are just going to both look at that. So we'll leave those on. It's tough to trade those stocks for me, because again, it's kind of like, trading the SPY because Apple's going up. It's like, well, why don't you just trade Apple? And I can't trade Bitcoin, so that's too pricey for my blood. All right, so we got Riot, Mara. We'll go by those. BPTH, looking algo and narrowing. I imagine this one's going to be a hard pass. LCID, Lucid Group. Also looking like we've got some narrowing chopped ranges, algoy mid-range here. Not a huge fan on this one. And then everyone's favorite BEKE, or as the prophet of profit likes
Oh
to
my
call
God,
it,
Becky.
So we've got Becky here. So and I have not traded Becky, but I have heard Brian trade a couple of times. Apparently, not bad. And I'll go back up, and then I'm going to close off on Kara because a couple people were saying I kind of skipped it on purpose because I just threw it into category with the other Bitcoin ones. But Kara yesterday did have a really big pop up to $18 with high volume, and then finds itself gapped right back down. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about with these, Bitcoins. Or no, this is Kara Therapeutics. Sorry. So I don't know what kind of catalyst it had yesterday that caused it to squeeze, and rally really hard. It looked like it did that before the open, and then when it opened, it just sold off really hard all day. So it'll be interesting to see if that's worth playing. So thanks for the call, chat, though, and keeping me clear on that. So, what else we got going on here? I'm not seeing anything here on the Gapper, so why don't we move in? We want to get a little community and events going, and then we'll go back through and find some.
Cool. Let's go to the room and see real quick what they've got. Anybody have anything?
Anybody
room and
in the
YouTube.
room got a specific ticker or YouTube you'd like me to take a look at?
C-pop.
C-pop. All right, we got ourselves 6% short float on a 40 million float stock. The daily range, I mean, this thing has dumped from, what is that? Did it IPO back here in the earlier part?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Kind of crazy, and then it just sold off after IPO. So now it finds it down at this low range, and it looks like it is gapping up. Not sure if there's a specific catalyst that's kicking C-pop today, but wouldn't necessarily be the kind of
here's the news headline that came out about an hour ago. Pop Culture Group, which is the name of this company, Limited, to develop street dance chain SaaS system to accelerate digital transformation.
I have no idea what that means, but I like it. So you had me at street dance. I don't know. So that sounds fun though. So what else we got? Anyone? I saw DKNG and Uber in the room. DKNG I know moved yesterday.
Yeah, it did with all the meme stocks, I think. Because it was trading with the AMCs and the GMEs a little bit back in the day as well. So
yeah, it had an aggressive rally right at the open, and then that little afternoon move. We got a solid volume on that push, so that it might be something to look at for DKNG. I'll definitely get DKNG up onto the list because that looks like it could be fun to play today, and we have some nearby levels to look at, so that one will be good. DKNG looks fun, and then someone else said Uber from the room, and then I'll pop over to YouTube and grab a couple off of YouTube. Thank you very much, by the way, everyone in YouTube. Sorry if I ignore you a little bit more than you're used to today. I am, as you can tell, not Carlos. Therefore, there's a good chance that I'm going to be absent on some of those things. But nonetheless,
right. I'll keep you in the loop. I'll keep my eye on it and holler out if I see something.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Quick peek at Uber. Uber had a really interesting candle a few days ago that popped up, and now it finds itself in this kind of little consolidation after the bounce there. It might be worth watching, but right now the volume is really low on it, and you find yourself under the downtrending daily average and pretty close to it. So I would really need some clear buying and signals before you start going long onto this thing right into such major daily averages. But you might actually even look for a reverse ABCD style play on this thing for the loss of 40. If the market goes weak, maybe Uber could be primed for another leg down. So that could be a good time. So we'll have to keep an eye on that for sure. Over in YouTube, I'm seeing Space, mRNA, and ABNB. I'll grab those three. So let's go with Space.
ABNB for sure, I would say. It doesn't have volume right now, but I don't think it usually does pre-market. It just had such a hell of a day yesterday that I would think it's got to have some play still left in it. See if it continues or fails.
Yeah, Airbnb was definitely the morning Romo trade of the day. As soon as that thing lit up, everyone's just going Airbnb, Airbnb, and I was trying to play some non-performing choppy stock, and all of a sudden I look back and Airbnb is already up like $7, and I was just like, wow. All right, missed that one. But the volume candle on Airbnb, along with the big engulfing on the daily, is really, really nice. So Airbnb will make the list today for sure for me. We'll pop up. Let's take a look at space. Space is consolidating now on the daily. So for anyone who can see, if you look at my daily chart here, which is on the bottom, one thing that I want you to kind of really pay attention to is notice down here in the volume area, see how space on these big candles that moved a whole lot, how high the volume is. And then notice with the volume being so low that space is doing these very tiny little moves. And we just kind of call this consolidation. This stock is going to be very difficult to trade when it has daily and ranged volume like that. You're really going to want to wait for this thing to get a new catalyst, some kind of fundamental thing that brings it in. And then you're going to be looking for it to come in and start making volume like this. And then you'll know it's time to start trading it again. mRNA, let's go ahead. mRNA also consolidating, had the big move to 500 basically, a little shy of 500 on the on the vaccine COVID catalyst. Now finds itself right around 400, kind of dropping volume and getting narrower range. So mRNA might be the same thing. We might actually just be consolidating value here. So we'll have to see how that goes.
All right. We're running a little behind, so let's hop over to announcements. I'll fly through those as quickly as I can, and then you can come back and do some levels.
All right, let's do it.
You can go to the next one. We only do that one on Monday. There you go. All right, tonight, 8 p.m., you have got Jared talking about the previous day close, and it's being the king of all levels, how important that is to your trading. I know he's been working on that for a little bit. Should be a great webinar. Be sure to catch that 8 p.m. this evening. Then next week, we've got Tape Reading 101 with the man Thor, covering the Carlos spot as well. That's 8 p.m. next week. Oh, that was yesterday. This is Wednesday. I'm losing my mind. Sorry. Man, I feel like I thought it was Tuesday. So, yeah, that was last night. Recording should be up soon. Apologies. Thank you. Tonight, Dr. Katz, Town Hall. He will be doing the Town Hall where he'll moderate a conversation about a couple of traders from the community and their trading journey. All right. As we mentioned earlier, all Super Chat donations are going to autism research this month, match dollar for dollar by Andrew. Last month, we raised just shy of $260, which is going to suicide prevention, mental health charities. That will be matched dollar for dollar by Andrew as well. If you want to participate in the member trade of the day, trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade of the day and post it on Twitter, tag @BearableTraders, @MikeB_BBT, and @NormBBT. Also use hashtags BBT Family. Day trading and stock market. We'll announce the winner each afternoon in the on Twitter and in the room. And then all those are available, eligible for trade of the week, which will be announced on Monday. Just a note here, a couple of the mods have noticed that the commentary and description of the trades has gone down a little bit. People don't feel like they need to dive so deep. Please do what you can to describe the trade well, why you took it, the strategy, everything else, not just this strategy thing. All right. If you're watching on YouTube, haven't been in the room, you'd like to give it a shot, you can use the promo code PREMARKET24. Go to the homepage. You scroll down till you see that test drive membership. The intro is 7 days, 5 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room unless there is a holiday. And that PREMARKET24 gets you a discount off that normal price. It cancels itself after the 7 days, and you've got to actively go choose if you want to become a member. Then if you want to become an annual elite member and have access to all the webinars, you can use the promo code SUMMER40, and that'll get you 40% off the annual elite membership. Jared, man, we're getting killed. We're getting just thank you for these super chats over there.
Yeah,
BGII King for $10. Thank you. And Jared, our very own Jared.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate those super chats. I'll try and learn how to do the flashy thing at some point too,
Flashy thing.
to get the YouTube flash to go up across the show when the super chats come through. But I appreciate them, even though I can't blast the recognition here. All right, so let's go ahead and get ourselves into some levels today. And I'm going to work on refining my charts a little bit for the next show. I know they're a little crowded in this small environment. I trade on a much larger screen, so I've got my charts put together that kind of reflect that a little bit better. But let's go ahead and get going on some of these and we'll move through. So first thing I want to take a look at is the SPY. One thing that we have talked about quite a bit in the is the volume on the SPY and what's kind of been going on. Now, if you notice yesterday, give me 1 second. Let me get my Epic Pen up. There we go. Let's see here. I can stick it right there. All right, now if you notice on yesterday here, we had this really narrow indecision candle, and it opened and closed at the same price. So that is a very interesting thing to see on the SPY. We had 3 days of push on declining volume that resulted in a pivot, basically, which Jared talked about a lot in Engineering the Markets, resulted on this pivot candle here that opened and closed at the same price. Today we find ourselves opening within that small range, right? So generically low volume with indecision often causes a sell, but bias here, we'll have to watch that. If we get a breakup of a high, maybe we go up. But if I'm really going to be watching previous day's close, and if we go through previous day's close on the SPY, it could be a good potential for some selling if that occurs. So we got to keep our eye on that today. So we're going to pop over to Taiwan Semiconductor. Taiwan Semiconductor has found this really high value area right in here at right around 115, 116. So that's certainly going to be a place that I'm going to want to pay attention to, what happens around 116. And then after that, we've got these moving averages in the bottom of this range right here. Look at this low candle here and these bodies. So we can mark the bottom of that value range there. Notice how that hits almost the bottom of our candle. Let's tighten that up just a little bit to the previous day, and boom, there we have it. All right, bottom of our candle. We've got our value area here, and then we're going to go up and mark. Let's go ahead and hit the top of this range right here. You can see all these body wicks, closes, and everything like that. There's our inside closest levels. This is where we're going to be looking to play. If we can break out from here, we'll look to run up towards VWAP on the daily if we get going. One thing I've already noticed is Taiwan Semiconductor is already doing a squeeze in the morning action, and it's doing it on, I would call this relatively low volume. So keep in mind, if the SPY rolls, most of these stocks that kind of correlate with the SPY in tech sectors like Qs will start to sell a bit with it. So we may be having a little opening squeeze here and then profit taking to come later. So we'll keep an eye out on TSM there. Over to DKS, which is what I will be calling DKS for this entire time, just to avoid too much fun times and memes. DKS has a really big gap up. They blew out their earnings here. Yeah, my lines are 50, and I have the 9 EMA, the 20 EMA, and the 100 EMA. DKS breaks out. It's at 130 now, but it finds itself highly gapped, right? So what we're going to be thinking here, obviously, is we're going to have to watch this price action already being so far up. It's going to be a little difficult just to get in this. We may want to let it sell a little bit. Now, as far back as I can roll out, it looks like, I don't know if this is all-time high for DKS, maybe, but it's certainly the highest point we've been at for a long time. So we're going to have trouble finding any hard levels that we can use. So I'm going to come up here actually to the pre-market action. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the top of the TFL right here, which Peter and I talk about a lot, the tinfoil line. This is just the 8 a.m. clearing line, but we like to use that. And you can see how that line has already played and interacted to the day. So this will set a bottom range. And then let's come down here to the bottom of this little pullback pattern here. And we'll mark, so we're marking 125 and 129 basically. We'll use that with pre-market high, and that should be 3 good levels that we can play off to get something going here in the morning. If it starts to sell, all bets are off. DKS can easily traverse all the way back down its full range if it starts to sell. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. We have Express Inc. Express Inc. I'm not really liking because of the price range and the action. But if you are looking for a couple of nearby levels, you can see here on the outside we have these top wicks here from when it broke through before. I like those. I think that looks like it would be a significant area to pay attention to. So, and then if we start to sell a little bit, you kind of have the bottom of this consolidation range here that matches up there and then fits through these lower areas. So you can see where we've over-overed here and we've over-undered here. So I really like how we pivot through this area. So those are two pretty nice areas. And then we'll go ahead and just hit the high just in case this thing starts to make some progress. So we'll mark those. And those will be three close levels. If for some reason we really start to break out and just go nuts today on this one, there's a couple of extras just in case. All right, KC is Kingsoft. I'm not into this one really at all as well, but we do have a couple of nearby levels that we can pay attention to. I like this standout candle here, so I'm going to use its high and its close just to mark in there and give me a couple of top ranges. That lines up really nice with here. And then I'm going to go to the bottom or the support area on this range right there. That'll give me three good topside levels. And then to the bottom, you can see where we've broken down, came back up in, and then failed. So I'm going to look somewhere right around here for that. And then you can see, yeah, perfect. We have body, body, wick, body, body there. So that looks like it's good. So now we have a downside level, which will basically be previous day's close. By the time we look at it. All right, one more on AMC here, and then we'll drop down into a couple of the ones that I took off of the room and off of YouTube. Let's see here. AMC had a really good move yesterday, really strong volume, and I really like that. So some big levels that are going to come into play are going to be previous day's close, which we're already sitting at, and then let's just go for yesterday's high to the top side. Notice how well previous day's close lines up with this candle here, right? Notice how the high lines up with the low of this candle here, right? So that's really precise movement out of AMC already yesterday. So that makes it looks like it's well managed and that it is in play because of the preciseness of the move. So I like AMC. The question will be, what'll it do? Obviously today, we got the big volume push. Do we hold here, press, and make more highs? Do we pull back? If we pull back, I'd look for somewhere right around here. You can see how we kind of had this push here where we broke loss and then we held under and then broke down. So I'm seeing this area right here as kind of like a range set up right in here. So I'm going to put my level at the top of that range. So if we look to sell off, I'm going to be looking for it to come back to like 42, maybe even 40. All right, so that's some levels on AMC. I'm going to pop down to a couple of the ones we grabbed off of YouTube in the room. We had DKNG. DKNG was a really nice move. Good volume popped on there. If it starts to sell a little bit, obviously previous day's close is going to be a great level to watch. And then let's go down right to here. All right, which is just at the top of these candles back here from this range when it tried to break out before. That lines up with our pre-market low. I like that a lot. And then we'll bring here just in case it breaks down. And then let's grab just one or two top side levels. Obviously, we've got this big move up to here. And then we've got a little bit of a range. We'll split the value right there on that range there. And that'll give us a couple of solid levels to the top side. You can see how that played here on this pull. So I like how that one lines up actually. All right, so Uber was brought out. Uber has been selling on the daily, not liking the pre-market action at all on Uber, but that's not unusual for Uber. Uber has been selling a lot, and we had some volume come in, but then high volume on this pullback under the average as we sold. So Uber, the levels to watch on this one are actually going to be the daily levels here. I'd watch 40. If it loses 40, might be a good short. If we start to pick up, it's going to be hard to play this one long, but you may look for something like around a new pre-market high that we could play, and then after that, we'll start looking on this thing maybe to squeeze back up to these candle highs where value's at 41. Uber is going to be tough to play. Probably have a narrow range and be a bit choppy unless just a ton of volume comes in. All right, 3 more. We got space. Same thing on space. We talked about that. We're in a consolidation range and we're on low volume, so I'm not seeing anything here that really jumps out at me. But the bottom of that range there, which is right where this moving average crosses, is of course going to be important. And then I would be watching previous day's close to see if we pull back and hold that. If we lose it, then maybe we head down. Airbnb, our big mover yesterday, had a giant move. Really liked Airbnb. If it starts to sell a little bit today on some of the profit, look for it to come back somewhere around 154.50. That's the top of this range here. See if it back tests it. It's about half the range of yesterday's candle, which is a pretty sweet retracement, about 50%. So you can come down, test pop, make a new high. You could go on the daily. So we'll definitely be watching this. If for some reason we get aggressive and break, we're going to be looking to move up to maybe like right around these levels right up here, around 166.75, and then the top of the next daily range, which will be way up at 182 or 183. So mRNA to close out levels. Been on a big rally lately, but has found itself in a narrowing consolidation range. We're starting to wedge up a little bit here. But our volume is really, really low, and that should be noted. If volume doesn't come in on mRNA, it's probably going to continue to be narrow-ranged and choppy, so might not be worth playing today unless that changes. If it does, I would basically just be watching your narrow band candles here, maybe go for the high here and use your low at value right there. And I think that is about those. How you doing, Norm? Anything else you're seeing out there that you'd like us to take
No,
a peek at?
let's just hit the moderator's watch list and see. Looks like Brian and Andrew are here, so they'll be ready. But let's.
All right, let's see if I can. My problem is Carlos has to drag that thing in when he does that. Let's see what it does if I do this. See if it hides the video when I drag it through. Oh, well, it'll probably still show it. Whatever.
All right.
Yeah, it's just going to duplicate like 20 times. All right, I'll bring it right
you're
in.
good.
I'll bring it in right
It's not
here,
doing anything.
just so you can see it. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to take a quick peek at what the moderators got going. Me personally, after looking through stuff, I'm going to be looking to play DKS. I think is going to be a really good one, and keep an eye at a couple of those stocks, DKNG and stuff. The Prophet of Profit, Brian Pezum, is going to be looking at KWeb, Sava, AMC, JWN, TSM, DKS, and RGC. Solid list there. Tiffany is going to be watching AMC, JWN, DKS, and Sava. Looks like DKS is going to be a winner today. Everyone's zooming in on that one. Dima looking at DKS, JD, AMD, and Apple. Andrew, AMC, SRPT, KD, JWN, Sava. Also pulling in some lower floats, SPRT, and RGC. Mike B is getting his scanner on. No IPOs from Peter. And Jared had too much fun with AMC yesterday. He's not going to risk not getting some fun on that today. He did scalp a little PDC already to get himself some breakfast money, some coffee, and now he is ready to get his AMC on.
Pull up RGC real quick.
All right.
This is the Hong Kong traditional Chinese medicine.
Woo! There she goes.
That have fun.
Yeah, right. And there you go.
Wow. Be careful with that, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Be careful with that.
All right. All right, so it is 9:20. We're chilling out a little bit. I think that's pretty much everything for our pre-market show. I'm waiting for, we got Brian already in, so we're just waiting for Andrew to come in, and then we will switch over, and they will start going through their stuff and get a little live trading going on for everybody. I really appreciate everyone's patience with me today on the pre-market show. Again, much love to our guy Carlos. We're doing everything we can do to keep your seat warm for you, brother, while you take care of that new beautiful baby.
Absolutely. Thank you, Thor. And I got to tell you guys, thank you, Thor, for stepping in and doing this, because it is I think it's the most stressful spot in this entire deal, is running the morning show. So thank you, Thor, especially with all this production that we have now.
No, you're out. You're very welcome. Just so you guys appreciate how much work Carlos does, this is the script for everything I just did.
Yep.
So that guy is awesome. He really does a lot.
Absolutely.
All right, let's see here.
Yeah, my dog is.
Just while I'm waiting for Andrew to get in there, guys, you guys see anything else you want me to look at for just a second, and then I'll bust. I'm sure he'll be in just a second. I went from being oh, there he is. All right, everybody, we got our guy Andrew in the house. I'm gonna go ahead and let's see. Let's bring Andrew and Brian online. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing today?
I am doing well, thank you.
Got some serious FOMO going on.
On RDC.
Yeah, and that was on my list.
12 bucks in 4 minutes or something. Yeah, it's nuts.
Jeez.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and cut my audio. Boss, looking dapper this morning, all cleaned up, loving the dew.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.
Thank you so much, Norm. Thank you so much, Norm, for that. This pre-market show definitely puts a lot of pressure in the morning to traders coming and making sure it's working nice, and because it's live. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it puts a lot of pressure on Carlos. So he's off because he's having just a newborn. A baby Amanda is born yesterday, 11 pounds.
Wow.
So that's it's amazing. She's healthy, and Carlos is going to be back in the next maybe maximum 2 weeks. So RGC is going to go up. FOMO is real. What's the float on that? It's 2.3 million shares float. Yeah. Brian, that's true. Thank you so much, guys.
Stop going up. Yeah, it's trading really jerky. Just you got to be really careful with this. The DIX is kind of selling off here as we get closer to the open. JWN had good earnings and everything, but they're gapping down this morning.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes perfect sense.
It might be one of those ones that's starts out gapping down and then starts to creep up and end up going green on the day. We'll see.
So everyone should be able to see also my screen, guys. You just have to switch from Thor's channel to my channel.
Yeah, I don't know. DKS, they're bailing on it right now.
AMC is interesting. AMC is below the VWAP now. If it gets above the VWAP, then we might have some fun with it. Unfortunately, yesterday I messed up my whole day. I couldn't check anything on my platform. Crazy run yesterday on AMC. And by the way, apology for yesterday. Thanks for Thor and Peter and everyone.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a fallen angel. I really don't like it. It could sell off and then pop back up. A typical fallen angel is strong into the open. it could push higher. I'd watch for the. You now have to see like a break of around 131.20 for it to do an opening range breakout.
Yeah, I see. People are talking about my my hair. Yeah, this fade is gonna be gone in 2 days. My hair grows so fast that it goes with the skin fade, but in the next 2 days, just again, it's gonna be like a really big one. So don't worry about it. It will last only 2 days.
Hmm. So I'm still I'm still short through options, PFE and mRNA, marinara, or some people like to call it Moderna. Inuit had earnings after the bell yesterday. Had obviously people liked the results of that. I'll move some charts around here.
Yeah, be careful with RGC. Seriously, this is
Yeah.
be mindful of your size on it. I know FOMO is real, but definitely mind your shot. Says don't take 5,000 shares on this because this moves $1 probably in a tick.
Yeah. This is going to be crazy at the open. It might pop up and then drop hard.
Microsoft Baba is doing some stuff. AMD is up. Market is creeping high to speak.
Okay, so Dix is popping back up here.
Casey doesn't have much volume, so I don't know if I want to get the SPRT. That one lost the VWAP. AMC is coming up. If AMC gets the VWAP for the break of 46 would be nice. Nordstrom is doing some stuff.
Okay, we got 1 minute to the open.
Yeah. No FOMO, guys. No FOMO. It will eventually get that trade that you want. Make sure that you have no FOMO. See how in the afternoon everything just blew up. YouTube guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to help us with the like or subscribe to our channel. And thanks for all the donations, guys. I was kind of expecting a little bit get more, but we are only about $400 donation, which I match $400. I was expecting maybe we can get to a couple of grand, but that's okay. AMC, RGC. What's the news on RGC? It's the
I don't know if it's just a meme stock or. Okay, here we go.
AMD strong. Oh, nice. Yeah, RGC. It's gonna get halted, I think.
Yeah.
AMC is strong too. Oh yeah, beauty. Looking at AMC potentially opening range break up. See what it does at the VWAP. No FOMO waiting.
I got long a little AMC just to start
Me as well.
for
Yeah, me as
for
well.
breakthrough 46. Here we go. All right.
Yeah, I'm adding a little bit more on it. Kind of didn't. I should have waited for 1 minute, but it's probably gonna go up. So I'm adding a little bit more on it.
I sold some through 46.
See if you can hold. That would have been a really good entry now for 1 minute.
Shorted some.
Break up.
Shorted some JWM Nordstrom's just on that pop up at the open.
So I'm long AMC at kind of with a messy entry, but see if you can go to 47-ish.
It's going to cover some JWM here. K-Web's dropping too.
Let's see what AMC is doing. A little bit struggling right now.
Shorting some K-Web as well. Kind of chasing it. 49.20. See if we can lose 49 here.
Okay, I'm getting out of AMC, really. Getting a stop down on AMC.
Yeah, I'm out of the rest of that too. Here we go.
I traded
K-Web
really bad.
Just covering some K-Web here through 49.
SRPT is ripping higher instead of. I'm getting some long on SRPT at 13.95. SRPT is interesting.
I'm out of the rest of
so
JWM.
SPRT, sorry. Getting some SPRT.
I just don't like the way JWN is trading.
I'm getting a long on SPRT at 13.90, 13.80. Let's see if we can go for the higher pre-market. Again, a bad entry. AMC. You should short an AMC for the green to red.
Just covered the rest of K-Web. We're down at S4, so I'm thinking it might bounce here.
I'm getting a short on AMC at 44.80. Getting a short on AMC 44.80. This one didn't go. Let's see if can go red. SPRT, no. Oh yeah, AMC 44. I'm covering some AMC at 44. This guy is not cool. AMC is testing the previous day close. The king of levels as AMD is strong. AMD is also really strong.
Yeah, AMD is popping
I'm taking a long on AMD, guys, too. Taking a long on AMD. It's SPRT. Damn it. I'm taking a long on AMD. Heavy size on AMD. Let's see if we can go to 110. Oh, yeah, beauty, beauty. Heavy size on AMD. I have some AMD under the table, too. See what AMC doing. Don't bounce back.
I'm just got along some dicks here. It's going higher. Here we go.
SPRT is dropping. Damn it. Bastard.
Here we go. Okay, selling some dicks here. DKS.
I'm getting a stop out on SPRT. MC is getting stopped out as well.
Okay. Still holding some DKS. It's a little jerky here.
I got to stop that on AMC on my short. Long, actually. Yeah. AMD. I still have long AMD as well. Adding a little bit more on my AMD long. I'm long AMC. I added some AMC long. See if this time can go for the break of high of the day. I'm long AMD, guys. See if you can go break the 46 for the high of the day. It looks like this time wants to go. I'm long AMD.
Selling some more. Sold some more Dicks, 134.10.
RGC got halted again.
Oh, is it open again?
Oh yeah, beauty. That's the thing that I wanted to get. Selling some on AMC. AMD heavy size on it too. Nice. Sold AMC. Yes!
Excuse me.
Actually,
AMC, wow, look at AMC go, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have 3,000 shares left on AMC. AMD. My loss in SPRT was bad. What's AMD doing? I'm still long AMD too, guys. Heavy long on AMD. I want to go see if we can get to 110. To the moon! To the moon! AMD. MC, sorry.
Donkey Kong's breaking out.
Actually, I lost money on the short on AMC, but
Came out of the rest of Dicks at break even, pretty much. So, did get a nice move on it, though. KWeb looks like it might be putting in a bit of a bottom here.
adding some long on AMC here at 47.17 on these macro pullbacks. It is at R1. Adding a little bit more on pullback. My average is now 46.37. I'm going to add too much. Nordstrom setting off. You think you can run? Well, it's already running AMC. I don't expect that this one runs forever, but definitely it's running now.
Wow, Taiwan Semi's been strong. AMD.
Oh, no, AMD don't pull back. Yeah, I'm holding a little bit AMC. It's right at my break-even point now. I don't know what to do with it. AMC. Selling some here, AMC, just because my break-even point, I kind of messed up my break-even point. AMD as well. SPRT was garbage. AMD.
I'm going to try a little long on KWeb. Just 48.90. Just seems to be holding this 48.80 level. So I'm risking about 10 cents here.
Nice. Very nice.
Dix has come back to the View app.
Adding some AMC at 46 here, just at the on the Weave app for the next pop. It might not go back for high of the day, but it might pop a little bit.
Nice bounce off the View app on Dix. I didn't play that,
exactly
but
what I was hoping to get.
Jeez. AMC did the same thing, pulled back to the VWAP and bounced there. Selling some KWeb here at 49.06. So I'll hold the rest and see if
I'm getting out.
a nicer move.
Sell out on AMC, guys.
Here
Getting
we
all
go.
out on AMC. KWeb, nice pop on KWeb, Brian.
Yeah,
Anything.
just looked
AMC.
like it was going to hold there.
Maybe a small and minor short on AMC just for fun. I think it might go lose it. 537.
Ooh, there goes RCG. RCG might get halted to the downside now. Here we go. That's a nice move on KWeb. Take a little more off here. 49.20.
Nice.
49.22 filled.
AMC is really erratic, but see if we can
Nice
get to
Human.
45.
Nice trade on Sava. I was kind of watching that play out. It was a nice rising devil trade.
AMD is back to the highs. Nice. Nice. Might add a little bit more here on it. 109.40.
Yeah, TSM is going. Look at that. Both of those
AMC.
Donkey Kong and TSM both bit of a ABCD pattern. Same with AMD.
AMC
Selling,
can get to 45.
Just selling some more KWeb here. 49.33.
Yeah. Come on. Let's squeeze up. Please.
Oh yeah, look at it. KWeb.
AMD. Come on, AMD. You can break this level. Nothing for you. Oh yeah, AMC is selling off now, finally. Let's see if we can get to previous day close. Owning some here on AMC, actually. That one can go. Oh yeah, AMD is also ripping higher. That's good.
Yeah.
AMC short. Guys, I'm short AMC, as you see, at 45.60. Let's get to below 44. Some here. AMD. No. Don't. ARC is ripping higher. Nice. Covering more short on it. Oh, AMC gonna collapse now, I think. Oh yeah. That's good.
AMC. Yeah. Sitting on a S2.
AMD. Yeah, AMD is kind of disappointing. I'm getting out of my AMD long. So PT popped up. Damn it. So PT is running up. Taking a long on SRPT again at 14. Let's see. SRPT can. No. You know what? Actually, I'm getting off SRPT. Garbage stock. SPRT, sorry. I have some AMC left, guys. Might be a good place to add some short in it. Actually, adding some short on it at 44.60. See if we can get another drop. My new average is at 45 exactly, 45 rounds. So that's here's my position. I have 45 round on AMC. See if you can get there. Some TNA and ARC too. AMC was nice. I messed up at the open trading it, but it did give us a really good trading opportunity. Love the volume and liquidity on it. SPRT is garbage.
I'm selling some more K-Web here at 52. Looks like Dix is going to try to break out here, maybe.
Cover some AMC here.
Yeah, I'm still trying to hold on to this previous day close.
Which one? KC?
AMC.
AMC, yeah. Are you long on it too?
I haven't played it
Oh,
at
sorry,
all.
I'm short. You're
Yeah,
not
you're
trading
short.
it at all?
No,
Are you
I
kidding me?
traded Dix and K-Web and
Let's see if you can break 44.
correction. I did actually trade it at the open.
Yeah, you did. I remember you went long.
Yeah.
TNA is doing some stuff. Come on, TNA, you go to 87.
That was so long ago.
I can't believe I lost money on AMD. I just can't believe that. Let's get one break. AMC is going to probably break down. I have 3,000 shares left on it. Yeah. Come on. Yes. I traded like a mess. Still holding the line. I'm holding the line with AMC and ARC and TNA. See, I told you back holding on TNA works. Stocks only go up. JWM sold off really heavily. Wow, look at this
There
PV.
goes. Yeah, there goes AMC is dropping now.
Oh, yeah, AMC, nice.
Mara's been, what's Riot doing? Mara's been creeping up here.
AMD now is bouncing back up. Are you kidding me? Garbage.
Riot's gone
Garbage.
green on the day.
Hold the line. I'm holding the line. Back holder. Diamond hand. Well, I'm really down on AMC, so it's kind of extended and it's kind of erratic. So I have only 1,500 shares on it. I'm looking at AMD now. I'm just trying not to use F word. What What a day. What a day. AMD is going to probably break it to 110. But I don't want to trade it, to be honest with you. It's just I'm done with it. AMC average is at 45. Potential to add or no? I don't know. I think it's weak. I think it might probably stay weak. But should we add a little bit? That's a question. I don't know if it's worth adding or not. Might go to S3. Yeah, it was a good add at 44. What's GNE doing? Nice, Hugo. Nice, very nice. GME is also selling off. Yeah, they are. It might go to S3. I think it's a good possibility to cover at S3. That's for sure.
42.90, 3-ish.
Yeah. Oh yeah, beauty. I had a really good day on AMC. The first trade that I jumped in was, again, it's just I have a rule that don't jump into the first minute. This pullback was a really good entry. After that, it bounced back. I could have easily sold, but I got a bad loss on it. Then short was okay, and then this long and this short turned out to be really nice, and I'm positive on both of them. Let's see what AMC is doing. Something is telling me that has the potential to go down, but at the same time. GME.
Just taking a small position on Taiwan Semi, TSM 117.09. Just bouncing off the VWAP here. The RCG really gapped down. RGC really gapped down.
RGC is just stay away from it. It's not tradable. That stock is definitely not tradable. There's no way that you can manage your risk on that stock. So spread is crazy, just constantly getting halted. Arch bouncing back. No, I don't think they, unless Anton halting pre-market, I think it's, unless it's a news pending halted, I don't think it's the volatility halting there. Is it? I don't think it is though. Never seen any.
Just selling some RGC here at 17.39.
Adding to my short sum at 44.50
sorry,
on AMC.
TSM, I mean.
This pullback.
TSM filled 117.39. Sorry.
I added some to my short here on AMC at 44.40. The 5-minute candlestick is still lower high. My average is at now 44.40. See if you can get another drop on it. See if you can go below 44 again and I'll cover. Short the rip. I added to my short in this pullback on 1-minute chart. 5-minute chart is still weak. Below 44, covering here. covering more. Thank you. Yeah.
Just getting out of the rest of TSM at 117.50, 53 filled. It might pop more, but
So this
so I'm
candlestick
gonna go back
closes
to
a doji in 5-minute AMC. It's struggling to make a new high in 5 minutes. It might be done for the flush down. It might be down. I might start making a bottom here. How's the YouTube people, guy? Did you have a good time? Because we're gonna cut it short very soon. You let us know by. Damn it! This AMD, Peter. Yeah, excellent presentation, Jared. Yesterday webinar, excellent presentation. On previous day close. Thank you so much. Yeah, kind of. I was a really, really decent trade. I'm going to call it tonight. Yep, coming.
he
Out
liked
for
your trade
AMC.
too.
Yeah, exactly. No, he said I'm in there too. Boom.
He's trading from his garbage truck.
I don't know why these guys at 6 o'clock is gonna do that. As a matter of fact, that was a good trade. Was not garbage.
He just got squeezed by AMD.
Yeah, well, Thor, thank you so much, guys. Yeah, I think you can cut it off. You can cut it off and focus your own trading. AMD's go to 110. That's exactly the trade that I was hoping to get. Thank you, guys. YouTube guys, if you like and subscribe, it helps us a lot. So appreciate that on that front. So yeah, you can cut it up, Thor, whatever you want, because it does. So I'm gonna hold a little bit of a AMC short that I